This is one of the best opportunities within your business at the moment to gain a competitive advantage and out sprint your competitors. Even speaking with the data team at Goldman Sachs, they're not really integrating AI even as much as I am or XP Survey's portal is. They can't be as nimble as us. Now is the opportunity to be nimble. Google are spending more money on AI currently than the UK is spending on its military force. I was at the Goldman Sachs Unicorn School, which you'll hear about what it is shortly. We met a lot of the Goldman Sachs data team and what they're doing with AI. Goldman Sachs trades in the markets, and I think they've probably got some super complex AI supporting trading algorithms to predict trades and support them in that. So they didn't divulge that. But what we did do is speak to the data team and then also a chap called Alex Connick, who studied at Oxford and is actually a lecturer at Oxford University specializing in AI. Did like a 1.5 hour talk, which kind of blew everyone's minds, to say that I think this is one of the best opportunities within your business at the moment to gain a competitive advantage and out sprint your competitors. And the reason I say that is because even speaking with the data team at Goldman Sachs, they're not really integrating AI even as much as I am or XP Survey's portal is, because they're such a big ship. They've got such credential and also GDPR and confidentiality. They can't be as nimble as us. So now is the opportunity to be nimble. Now I'll caveat that with, don't go building yourself a platform within a business that you may be able to pay a company that do it better than you. But now is the time to be really embedding this into your own working personal life, your own work life, your company's work life, to come up with ideas with AI and then implement it with your teams to get your teams being more efficient. I think the easiest win across the board is improving efficiency. And that's typically in operations and data at the moment. And when I say be careful about building something that might be irrelevant, is to give you an example, what we've built in our portal, which was shared on our YouTube channel, which you could go and watch because Ben did a run through, is completely bespoke to us and will save us huge costs and prove scalability to our business. I would love to build that product for Central Suites, for an example. But the difference being is in Central Suites, our main operational function is lettings. Guess what? There's thousands of lettings companies out there. We use a current tool called Co-Host. They will probably build a better AI platform or portal for lettings than we could. So it's almost pointless us building that, putting a load of time and effort into that to create something that will be created. For us at XP Surveys portal, I can't see anyone creating that. Well, full stop, because it's so bespoke, it's so niche, it's kind of its own business in its own right. But for something that is a routine process, that is routine work, I would say be hesitant about building something that's going to take hours and hours and hours and refinement to get to a point where actually someone else brings it out and is better than you. To give you an example, is even with AI, you wouldn't go and create your own Zero because Zero does it better than all of us. So that is an example of something that is probably best to just pay for. There are other things like efficiency tools, aggregating data, reading data, embedding AI into your existing workload. So whether that's managing your calendar, managing your inbox diaries. As a small business, without all of the big ship movements that you have to get approval and manage data, you've got a huge advantage at this moment in time. I was actually quite shocked to see that the data team at Goldman Sachs are doing less with AI than we are. I thought they'll be well ahead of it, and they just can't. They can't start messing around with systems and let AI within their systems to control and sort of move things around, because obviously it does have its flaws. So Alex Connick came up with a few things, starting off with a couple of people that you should be following on podcasts and watching, which is Dennis Hassabis, who is the CEO of DeepMind. He's done a lot of interviews on YouTube. We saw a couple of snippets in the talk, and that's definitely someone that I'm going to be watching more of. And also Boris Cherny, who's head of Claude Code. Almost the example of what I was saying of building something and then it almost being undone by something that comes out better. I feel there's a lot of people that adopted AI earlier that are now probably redoing things with Claude Code. And Boris Cherny is head of Claude Code. So if you're not watching what he's got planned, what he is in belief of personal use, business use, or whatever that may be, you may end up double handling that process. A quote from Mark Zuckerberg is, from an AI perspective, we must disrupt ourselves before someone else does. And that's kind of the way that the world is going. It's almost like the phrase, which is even before AI, if you're not moving forward, you're actually going backwards. The belief is obviously if you're stationary, you're going backwards. And that is kind of the framework of the marketplace that AI is putting you in. If people build efficiencies into their teams using AI, they need half the workforce to do the same as you. Therefore, their gross profit margin and net profit margin are greater than yours. So it's huge change at the moment in the market. This one is probably the most shocking stat that I heard, which is Google are spending more money on AI currently than the UK is spending on its military force. It is absolutely crazy. Some top tips to go through. A really important thing and way to think about AI as a business owner is to think about deliberation with AI and then delivery with team. And the reason that's important is because it's almost like a think tank or a second opinion for you to bounce ideas off and build a pathway and then deliver it with your team. And that's typically, there's a lot of people saying that labor forces will be reduced, but if you go to your team with like 6 ideas, you can't refine it as well as if you're chucking it at AI, because at the end of the day, the AI is only going to confuse you or itself, and then you can unbreak that problem. Whereas if you disrupt the vision of the team, so like, right, we're going to do this, and then actually, what about this idea? And then actually, what about this idea? It'll become very demotivating for a team. One beauty of AI now is rather than presenting an idea, you can actually build a demo very simply through vibe coding, for an example. And that doesn't have to be what you deploy, but it enables you to get your point across. And because that frictionless access of producing something so easily is around, the way of communicating within a company and an idea, especially in like service-based businesses, is you can just vibe code an idea as a concept and then build on that rather than presentations, and you can actually just get out and do it. So as an example, if you're thinking about a new product, you can create the product, whereas before you'd create concepts of the products in a slide deck, you'd present the deck, and then you'd think about how you go implementing that. There was a cool exercise which he did, which is if you're a product-based business or a service-based business, challenge your team to come up with ideas that AI couldn't come up with. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for an example, in Aura, Ben gets a spec for a job, they get a house, Ben then goes to AI, can you create me 10 different concept designs of this property that are deliverable in construction in the UK, blah, blah, blah. And it comes up with 10 ideas. Then to get your team to think about things that the AI cannot produce. And it's about building this sort of competition moat around your business, that you're constantly iterating ideas internally that cannot be overtaken or adopted by AI. So there's obviously a lot of things that are hugely impacted by AI, and there's a lot of things that are not hugely impacted by AI. Elon Musk says the safest businesses are businesses where you're moving atoms. So building a property is very safe. Whereas certain things that are more digital based or tech based, you may want to lean into the things that AI is never going to be able to produce or cannot produce. Understanding the client criteria to a different level so that it can't just be thrown into something to populate ideas. And as a product-based business, you can throw ideas like, this is our business, we need new ideas, what market areas would be interesting, and try and get your team or yourself to come up with something that is so off the wall or so different that AI would have never have thought that. And that's that. If you take a step back, we're a planet of humans, and everything that we do for work is for eventually humans. Like you can't really run a business without thinking about whether you're, supplying glass to a car manufacturer, who's going to drive the car, humans. Okay, well, let's take away the driver, who's going to sit in the car, humans. So every business evolves around humans. So it's kind of like thinking about that end in mind, and rather than almost creating something that's just between A and B, think about the conceptualize of the end user and what they would like, which is why they're saying experience-led businesses will do really well in this market space, because everyone will get a little bit fed up with technology and actually just like a wholesome weekend with their family in the Cotswolds or whatever it may be. He also explained what an AI agent. So Ben mentioned what vibe coding is. Obviously, you've got language models where you can chuck ideas, ask it questions, and it's basically a search engine. But an agent is basically the middle ground between the world and you and your process and your business. So the concept between that is basically between the two, you've got an agent in the middle where you can extrapolate information like an LLM on the market or the world or what the world's doing, train it to have certain patterns and a goal to work on that particular goal. We don't have any in our businesses yet. We've got like almost like a semi-agent resource embedded in our portal that can go and fetch things and answer questions. But that is definitely something that I was thinking about integrating into the businesses.
If you want to work on developments just like this is £6 million in North London, and you want to be surrounded by other property developers that are doing this as a job, you want to scale and grow your development business, you need to surround yourself with business owners that have been there and done that. We've spent tens of thousands of pounds on our own education with business coaching, mentorship, and that's why we're bringing the XP Boardroom to people just like yourself who want to learn from award-winning developers just like us, doing large developments like this, 10, 20, 30 million pounds of gross development value every year. If you want to be part of that group, there'll be a link down below to learn more about it, where you can get deals funded, deal clinic, hot seat coaching, goals and achievements that we hold you accountable to. Click on the link below. We'd love to have you on board. The new cohort of our XP Boardroom has just opened.
Now, I've been using ChatGPT for, I don't know, 18 months, whatever it is. So it's got a lot of information on me, and a lot of the people that want to move to Claude have sort of questioned, well, how do I I'm going to have to go through that whole process again with Claude and get it to understand who I am and what I want and how I operate. And I asked ChatGPT to summarize everything that's learned about me across my various businesses, how I like to operate, how I like messages received, what sort of tonality I like to use, all that sort of stuff. So basically it created a 10-page document of all of the different areas that we've spoken about that I could basically give to Claude to onboard him. It was ludicrously accurate. You know, it's just some of the things in there like, oh my God, like that is exactly how I operate. That is exactly how I've asked you to do things. And to the point where, you know, it remembered that I asked it to remove M dashes from outputs, because ultimately that's a very clear sign that it's been written by AI. So yeah, that was a good starting point for me to give to Claude to say, look, this is an intro into myself. Here's the links to my businesses. Here's the links to my social media profiles. You know, go away, research them, you know, get an understanding of who I am. I then used Claude Co-work to link my Gmail, my G Drive. After I uploaded my onboarding document, I said, look, now give me the top 10 things that you think you need to fill in the gaps and understand more about, you know, my businesses. And then it asked me to upload financial forecasts, financial management tools, shareholder agreements, various bits and bobs to allow it to get a deeper understanding of the current state of play within the various businesses, which I did. And then when I connected it to Gmail, that was the next level of filling in the blanks. So ultimately, as soon as it's connected to Gmail, it controlled 10 years worth of emails back and forth. And then it came back and said, this is great. Now I understand why you're doing X, Y, and Z. I can see that this person has been involved in this process. And it was able to kind of fill in the blanks that it didn't get for that first phase of onboarding and uploading certain pieces of information. And it's got a really good understanding now of even how my tone of voice is within various emails. And it said, look, you know, within internal teams, basically you're just to the point and very blunt, which is what I am. You know, to my internal team, there's no fluff, there's no padding. It's right, great, get that done, get that submitted. To third party kind of consultants that we're working with, it's a little bit warmer. It's, you know, hey, how are you doing? You know, this is what we're looking to do, blah, 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 blah. And then if it's client focused, there's a bit more warmth to it. You know, there's a bit of humor in there. There's a bit of humility, more so than just this is what I want doing, please go and do it type thing. And, you know, it knows all that now. It knows how I write. And I'm going to be looking at ways in which how I can train Claude to automate a lot of the systems and processes that I do on a regular basis. One of the big ones, and this was formed part of the Property Entrepreneur Day that I had yesterday, which was a full day on AI and utilizing automations and whatnot. And that's a social media playbook. So Jack and I have, you know, regular postings in XP Property. We have regular postings in Aura. What Jack and I don't necessarily have is a marketing strategy personal to me, you know, my personal brand. That's, I guess, what we're looking for. And last night, that's what I was up to, 12:30, kind of talking to Grok about. I created my social media playbook. So I had a large prompt that I put in, say, you know, I want you to create a playbook around my identity, who I am, what I'm aiming for, who I'm looking to target. That playbook needs to be updated on a regular basis. Every day I will talk to you about kind of some of the key things that have happened that day. And by the morning, I want a script created to create, you know, a video around that topic that can then be used to post across social media platforms, blah, blah, blah. And within, you know, 30 minutes to an hour, I should be able to create 30 days worth of social media posts that I don't really have to think about. It's all automated based on the processes that I've put in place. And that's really where I want to get it to. So no, this is what I think most people will be doing over the next 6 to 9 months. So if you're not doing it, you're going to be missing out. The key thing as well that I think I understand from Claude, and this is what I'm going to be looking at, is making sure that everything that I'm doing is potentially accessible by the team, or everything relating to various businesses has the ability for everyone to tap into it. Because ultimately, what I don't want to happen is every single person in the various teams going off and doing their own thing with AI, coming up with different strategies, different outputs. It all needs to be centralized based on Jack and I's vision for the business. And everyone needs to be able to sort of see and use all of the good stuff that each person's doing, which, I still need to look into. Tell me if that isn't possible, but I think it is with Claude. As we've been speaking on this podcast, I've literally got WhatsApp messages with Trevor in XP Surveys, and he's sending me screenshots of how he's been able to, utilize AI, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, to manipulate our client portal, to read when a lead comes in via a Google advert, associate that Google advert lead with the client in our CRM, which then can help pull through the value of that client contract, whether it's been won, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff used to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds within HubSpot. You pay for a package to get this done. I think the upfront sales and marketing function within any business is going to be massively disrupted. And I'd like to think in the next 6 months, we're creating 10 times the output and being able to cope with 10 times the number of leads, because we're taking out some of the human interaction. We're automating those processes as much as possible. You still want to maintain that human touch and human voice, because that's what's appealing to people. You don't want to completely move to a robotic kind of process. It still needs to have some sort of human element.
Thank once again for watching our video. We hope you found it useful. If we could ask you for one thing, please do subscribe. It does help us. And check out our channel, because there's tons of videos on there with lots of value, which we give away for free. Thanks for watching.